In the rural back roads of South Carolina, where the hum of insects at night replaces city noise, a 6-day terror unfolded in October 2004 that would linger in the memories of small communities for decades. A man walked freely during the daylight, approached strangers' homes, and left behind a legacy darker than most criminal cases. Not just because of the killings, but because of the brazen way he flaunted them. He didn't run. He didn't hide. He taunted. He called himself a prowler and left chilling proof of that identity behind. This is the story of Stephen Corey Bryant, a name that haunted South Carolina for 21 years until he was executed by firing squad on November 14th, 2025. Today on True Crime Cases, we dive deep into his crimes, the people he killed, the trail he left behind, the legal battles that followed, and what happened when the state finally carried out his sentence. But first, imagine this. A stranger comes to your door in broad daylight saying he needs help. Would you let him in? Many did. But that choice became part of a nightmare they couldn't escape. Stephen Corey Bryant was born on April 12, 1981. Details about his early life reveal a troubled young man, one who would, by his early 20s, be entangled with drugs and petty crime. By 2004, he was using methamphetamine heavily, often appearing disheveled and unstable. In the weeks before his killing spree, neighbors described seeing Bryant driving around Sumter County, approaching homes to ask for directions or help with his broken car, a tactic he would later use to disarm his victims psychologically, long before any violence occurred. He wasn't yet classified as a dangerous killer, and few had reason to suspect the violence that was about to unfold. The first day of Bryant's violent spree is rooted in property crime. On October 5, 2004, he broke into a home in the rural reaches of Sumter County, taking advantage of someone's absence. But in the hours that followed, something shifted. He stole a pistol from another home, and by October 8th, Bryant was prowling the roads outside of Richland County when he encountered Clinton Brown, 56, who was fishing peaceably by a riverbank. Without warning, Bryant shot him in the back. Clinton survived, but the violence had begun. Instead of retreating, Bryant seemed to embrace what he had done. On October 9th, Bryant picked up 36-year-old Clifton Dale Gainey, an acquaintance, under the guise of giving him a ride. What followed was shocking in its cold efficiency. Bryant pulled the truck to a secluded stretch of road and gunned Clifton down. Afterward, he drove to Clifton's home, loaded belongings into his truck, and set the residence on fire, as if to erase all traces of his actions. Witnesses later reported seeing Bryant's 1990 GMC hauling away from the scene. This physical description, and the license plate noted by one resident, would later become crucial in the investigation. For the first time, fear took hold across Sumter County. People began locking their doors, and deputies mounted roadblocks on rural avenues. 2 days later, on October 11th, Bryant approached the secluded home of 62-year-old Willard T.J. Teitchen Jr., claiming car trouble. What followed was one of the most disturbing acts in this case. Bryant shot Teitchen multiple times. Then, as cutting evidence from court records shows, Bryant called Teitchen's phone repeatedly, answering calls from his family, and revealed his crime. When Teitchen's daughter Kimberly called her father's cell phone, someone answered, "You can't. I killed him. I'm the prowler." But the horror did not end there. At the crime scene, Bryant left a message scrawled in the victim's blood on the wall. Victim 4 in 2 weeks. Catch me if you can. He also placed lit candles around the body, creating an unsettling tableau that taunted law enforcement and echoed his own self-proclaimed identity. 2 days later, on October 13th, Bryant met 35-year-old Christopher Earl Burgess at a convenience store. Eyewitnesses would later confirm that Christopher voluntarily loaded his motorcycle onto Bryant's truck. In minutes, they were on a rural stretch of road, and within moments, Bryant executed another fatal shooting. Christopher's body was found by a hunter the following morning, far from help, on a lonely forest road. The terror had lasted just 8 days, but its impact would echo for decades. As news of multiple shootings spread, local police grew desperate. Officers stopped nearly everyone on the country roads, warning residents to be wary of strangers asking for help. Thanks to the license plate information, witness descriptions, and the gun stolen from earlier burglaries, investigators narrowed their search. They found Bryant at his girlfriend's mobile home, without incident. Officers recovered stolen property and the murder weapon. Bryant was arrested and charged with multiple offenses, including 3 counts of murder, assault with intent to kill, arson, and burglary. His rapid confession sealed a case that would take years to wind through the courts. Bryant entered guilty pleas in 2008. During the trial, prosecutors underscored the heinousness of his crimes, not just the killings, but the deliberate taunting, psychological cruelty, and brutal messages left at crime scenes. He received death sentence for the murder of Willard T.J., teach-in life sentences for the murders of Clifton Gainey and Christopher Burgess, additional time for all other related crimes. Defense attorneys argued that Bryant suffered severe developmental and mental issues stemming from childhood trauma, fetal alcohol exposure, and abuse. But courts repeatedly rejected these appeals over the years, determining the crimes were methodical rather than impulsive. For nearly 2 decades, Bryant sat on South Carolina's death row. During this time, he committed disciplinary infractions, including fighting and possessing contraband, showing his volatile nature did not subside with incarceration. His attorneys continued to pursue legal avenues, highlighting alleged brain impairments and traumas. On October 14, 2025, the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear further appeals, paving the way for his execution. South Carolina offers inmates 3 execution methods: lethal injection, electrocution, or firing squad. Because of lingering shortages of drugs for lethal injection, the state revived the firing squad, a method rarely used in the U.S. Bryant chose the firing squad, a decision that sparked debate about execution methods and ethics. Before his execution, Bryant requested a final meal, including seafood stir-fry, egg rolls, fried fish, stuffed shrimp, candy bars, and chocolate cake. A stark contrast to the grim reality waiting hours later. On November 14, 2025, at Broad River Correctional Institution, Bryant was led into the execution chamber. 10 witnesses, including family members of his victims, observed. Strapped to a chair with a hood over his head, 3 volunteer officers fired simultaneously. Roughly 55 seconds later, Bryant was pronounced dead at 6:05 p.m. The 3rd firing squad execution in South Carolina that year, and the 43rd in the United States in 2025. The execution reignited debate about capital punishment, firing squads, mental health, and justice. Critics argue the method is archaic and lacks humanity, while supporters stress that Bryant's actions warranted the ultimate sentence. And while Bryant's life has ended, the memories of his victims, Clifton Gainey, Willard Teachin, and Christopher Burgess, continue to resonate in their communities. The execution of Stephen Corey Bryant is now history, but the shadows of his crimes remain. Communities in South Carolina still remember the terror of that October in 2004, the randomness, the fear, and the victims whose lives were cut short. Stories like these remind us of the fragile line between everyday life and unimaginable tragedy. They also remind us why justice, even when delayed for decades, matters. If you want to continue exploring real-life crime stories, in-depth investigations, and the chilling details behind headlines, make sure to subscribe to True Crime Cases. Hit that button now so you don't miss our next story. Every subscription helps bring these stories to light and ensures the voices of victims are never forgotten. Thank you for watching, stay aware, and we'll see you in the next video.